Right. So now you're going to lesson 5, bivariate data analysis. The word bi means what? The word
Two.
bi. Bi, yeah? Bi means
Two.
two. Variate is variable. So two variables. Right. Example. Some of the examples here. Right. BMI, body mass index, and systolic blood pressure. Are they two variables?
Yes.
Are they two variables?
Yes.
So it's called a bivariate, right? BMI is a variable, BP is a variable. Variate here refers to continuous variable. Must be continuous variable, right? So these two, are they quantitative or qualitative?
Quantitative.
Quantitative. So these must be quantitative variables. Expenditure and saving. Are there two quantitative variables? Expenditure, how much you spend. Saving, how much you save. Is it quantitative variable?
Yes.
Yes.
Here, temperature in New York, rainfall in KL. Are they quantitative?
Yes.
Right. Let's come back to this. What's the connection between BMI and SBP? Body mass index and systolic pressure. What do you think the connection is? Do you think any connection between the two?
Higher BMI, higher SBP.
Right. You suspect higher the BMI, higher the BP. Basically, you can see roughly increasing, you also increasing. What about here, expenditure and savings? Expend how much you spend, how much you save. How does it work? How much you spend and how much you save. How does it work?
The more is the expenditure, the less is the saving.
Look at this now. The more the expenditure, lesser the saving. So this is positive. This is negative, opposite direction. Temperature in New York, rainfall in KL. Do you think it should be connected? New York somewhere else, KL somewhere else. Why should they be connected, right?
Yeah.
Right. So now we have, this is positive, higher the BMI, higher the BP. Will be negative, higher the expenditure, lower the saving. This may not be connected. So we, in terms of statistics, we say association. Is that association with BMI and BP? Is there an association between expenditure and saving? Is there an association between the temperature in New York and rainfall in KL? So bivariate, want to know whether these two variables are they associated. So first, the 3 steps: scatter, plot, correlation, and regression. Scatter plot. I'm sure you're all used to this kind of diagram. We plot the vertical axis versus horizontal. Vertical normally is called Y. This is normally is called X. That can be anything. Do you see a pattern? Right? Normally, what goes to the X and what goes to the Y? BP depends on BMI or BMI depends on BP? Blood pressure depends on BMI or BMI depends on blood pressure?
Blood pressure depends on BMI.
Right. Normally, but not necessarily. The dependent variable goes into y-axis. In this case, can be SBP, and the independent variable BMI goes into x-axis. Right. There can be 3 different plots, 3 different, right? So this is plot number 1, plot number 2, and plot number 3. Can you describe plot number 1? Describe in terms of x and y. Describe plot number 1 in terms of x and y. What's happening?
Positive.
Explain.
When X increase, Y increases.
Right. As x increase, y also increasing. So that's the direction. As X increase, Y also increases. What about next one?
When X decreases, Y. Sorry, when X increases, Y decreases.
X increase, Y decreases. How about here? Do you think any connection between the two?
No.
No. This is like random, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So here looks a pattern. Here's a pattern. Here's no pattern. That is one of the uses of scatter plots to see the connection or the pattern. So positive, negative, and there's no association. Right? So first step, that's the purpose of scatter plots. All right. These two plots, are they both positive? X increase, Y increases. Here X increase, does Y also increase?
Yes.
Yes. So both also, X increase, Y increase. Here also X increase, Y increase. But what's the difference? What's the difference between these two?
Not significant.
Now, what's the difference visually? What's the difference? Don't use statistics. Don't use the word significant. Visually, what's the difference? When you look at it, what's the difference?
Linear and not linear.
Linear, not linear? But these dots are very close, right?
Yeah.
But these dots are a bit farther, right?
One is obvious.
No,
Two
these dots are very close, right?
Yes.
But these dots, not as close, right?
Yes.
Linear, I can still draw a line here. I can also draw a line.
That correlation is stronger in the one.
These dots are dispersed. These are compact. So after this, how do you compare this and this? You're going to measure the correlation. Correlation is a measure of strength. Correlation. Visually, we can see that this must be weaker, this must be stronger. How do you prove that? In terms of correlation. Again, all this click button, value come up, we interpret. So the correlation ranges from -1 to +1. Center 0. +1, we can see perfectly like this diagram. All the dots very perfectly linear direction, +1. All the dots in negative linear line, there's -1. So we're not interested on the extremes. If the dots are like this, random, then the correlation is going to be about 0. So ranges from -1, perfect negative, +1, perfect positive, and center. But we are interested in those two areas, this white box and this white box, right? So here are the green colors. Within plus or minus 0.3, R ranges from -1 to +1. Any values between plus or -3, they're considered small, right? Citation Cohen, 1989. R, the R value is also known as the effect size, right? Too small connection between the two. So we are looking for the green, positive or negative. If the R value goes this way, the association getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So here is very strong. Same thing. He also getting stronger and stronger, but in the opposite direction. It goes here. So you want to know correlation, does it fall inside here, close here, or far from here? Either side, close here or far from here. We look at the absolute value and also the p-value. Right, now let's ask you a question. What's the difference between this and this? We measure the correlation, that's a value. Measure this correlation, that's a value. Which is stronger? Number 1 or number 2, which is stronger?
Number one.
Number 1 stronger. You can see almost all linear like that. But here, you're going to draw a line here, they're more dispersed. Right? Okay. Regression. So scatter, correlate, and regress. Now here, to test if y depends on x, and if yes, how? To test whether y depends on x, if yes, how? So that's the model you're going to create. Y equals to a plus bx. A is the intercept. B is the slope. What we intercept? Then draw the line, extrapolate to the y-axis. So that's A. A is the place where the line cuts a y-axis. What is B? It's the slope. Every unit increase in x, delta x, how much is delta y? So delta x over delta y, that is the slope. And x increases, how much does y increase? Right? So now, to see whether significant or not, whether b equals 0, we want to test whether b equals 0. B equals 0 means what? What if b equals 0? How the line will look like? The line will be flat, right?
Horizontal.
Flat, isn't it? Flat like this, right?
Yeah.
The line will be flat like this. That means x increases, y does not increase. That means b will be 0. This line, is it flat?
No.
Is it flat or slanting?
Slanting.
Slanting. That means there is a slope. How do you measure it? Change in x, change in y. Now the question is, the b, is it big or small? B 0 means y does not depend on x. B big means y depends on x. Again, you're going to use some p-values to consider whether b is big or small. Next is residual. This concept is very important, right? So in our line, when they fit the line, are the dots sitting on the line? Are the dots exactly sitting on the line? These dots, are they exactly sitting on the lines?
No.
No.
Why not? Why not? We don't know. Why not? We don't know, meaning we can't explain. It's a data characteristics. So all the differences, this observed, this predicted. So residuals defined as observed minus predicted. So these are the residual values. How much different from there? So this is a big difference, this small difference, very small difference. So residuals. So what are the residuals? Difference between observed and predicted. This plays a major role in regression analysis. And need to know what it is. Because these residuals, when above the line, they are positive. Below the line, they're negative. So you take the sum of the residuals, the answer will always be 0. Because plus and a minus, they cancel each other. So we square the residuals first. So positive square, still positive. Negative square, still positive. Hence the name ordinary least square. The ordinary least square, question is, least square of what? Least square of the residuals. Therefore, the best line is the one that gives a lower sum of squared. Again, you don't have to test for all this. The method already incorporating this, the least square line, is already in the software. Automatically, the formula all input, the method is called OLS, that's all. Ordinary least square. Least square of what? Least square of the residuals. Okay, that's how we're going to see whether later y depends on x. So the residuals play a big role. Now, bigger residual better, smaller residual better? Residual bigger the better or smaller the better?
Smaller.
Oh.
Smaller. Because the least over the better, right? All right. So based on this, we're building the ANOVA table. Again, ANOVA, you've seen earlier in the test of means. Here also ANOVA table. ANOVA stands for analysis of variance. This is the structure of the table, right? We split into 3 sources. Later, I'll do some example on this. Total, residual, and regression, right? Residual, we know, is the difference between observed and predicted, right? Regression is also known as explained variation. Residual is known unexplained. It's not asked you why the dots are not sitting on the line. I say I can't explain, right? Cannot explain because of data characteristics. Then cannot explain, that is known as unexplained variation. So the SS residual is also known as unexplained variation. This is a total variation, right? Total variation. So unexplained plus explain will add up to total. If you don't understand, it's still okay. We do some example later, we'll see better understanding. So SS stands for sum square. MS stands for mean square, right? This MS regression, SS regression over 1, this MS regression, SS residual over n minus 2, right? Later F36, we take the ratio between these two. No calculation in this class. All will be done by the software and that will be presented to you. Based on this, we're going to make decisions, right? So remember, SST, we partition the variation, total variation into regression and residual. If I know SST, if I know residual, I can find this. Example, if this is 100, this is, let's say 20, how much this must be?
80.
This is 100, this 20, this must be
80.
80. 80 explained, 20 unexplained. Another example, this is 90. 90. This must be this
10.
This 90. This must be
10.
10. It means what? More unexplained than explained. Then the model is not good. So you want this value to be high. Don't worry. All these will be computed. The summary will be given. And the table will give the p-value as well. And the p-value is not mentioned less than 0.05, then it says yes, y depends on x. The p-value is more than 0.05, we say y does not depend. So how are all these computed? Based on these components. All right. If the f value is big, numerator is regression, that means this is big. This explained variation, more than unexplained. If f is small, this value is small, then this value is small, this value will be high. If I fix 100, this is 10, this could be 90, more unexplained. If I fix 100, if I say this is 10, this is 90, that's a good model, right? So now f is big, f is small. How do you know? The p-value will come out in the table. So p-value less than 0.05, f is big, y depends on x. P-value more than 0.05, f is small, y does not depend on x. So cut short everything, look at the p-value. My objective, does y depend on x? If the p-value is less than 0.05, we say yes. If the p-value is more than 0.05, we say no, right? R square. R square also known as the coefficient of determination. So look at R square, how it is computed. SS regression, now this is a mistake here, okay? Changes to We change it now. Regression over SS total. Right. Okay. So the SS R square is SS regression, which is explained over SS total variation. So total, explain, there's unexplained, explain, unexplained. We take the unexplained, explain, we take the explain, divide by the total. This explain, divide by the total. What do you call this? We call it percentage explain variation. Supposing this 100, this is 80, what's R square? This 100, this 80, what's R square? Come on, this 100,
0.8.
this 80, what's R square?
0.8.
80%, isn't it? Ranges from 0 to 1, converted 0 to 100. So this 100%, 100 units, this 80 units, 80 over 100, that is 80%. So the variation is explained. If this is 10%, 10, this 100, this is 10, what's R square? This 100, this is 10. What's R square? What?
10%.
Explained is 10,
10%.
total is 100. How many percent?
10%.
10% explained. Just now, 80% explained. Which is better? Higher the better, lower the better?
Higher.
Higher the better. Higher means the model is good. Lower means the model is not good. Higher means explanation is good. Lower means explanation is not good. When we say explanation is good, we say the model fit is good. When the explanation is poor, we say the model fit is not good. Right? So in simple linear regression, R square, we see later how it works. So what I'm looking into, from whatever information, I'm going to build the table. And what are the components here? Explain, unexplained. Then you look at the F value, big or small. You just look at the P values. And there's something called R square. We measure this. Higher, the better. Higher, the better. How many percent? There's no real cutoff rule. Higher, the better. Right. A worked example. Are there two variables?
Yes.
Bivariate? Bivariate, right? Come on, guys, is it bivariate?
Yes.
Right. So plot it. Scatter plot. So this BMI, this BP. So what do you say? What can I say based on this figure? What can I say?
When BMI increases, SBP increases.
Right. But don't say increase, okay? You say generally. As BMI increases, BP increases. This word generally, comma, as BMI increases, BP increases too. Another thing, look for any outlier. Supposing one dot sitting here. This is a dot, let's say, observation. Now what can I say? What can I say about this dot? Is it far from the rest? This means
Yes.
what? By BMI about 24 is BP of 150. So this is an outlier, right? It's another reason why we look at scatter plot. Generally, these points are okay. 1 point sitting here or 1 point sitting here, we say there are some outliers. Then certain assumption won't be fulfilled. So that's the purpose why, another reason why we look at the scatter plots. Okay, now equation. Again, we don't compute manually. Again, click button, that equation will come out. What's the equation equals to? Can you read the equation? Can somebody read this equation?
Negative 7.
SBP equals to.
SPP equal to negative 76.97 plus 8.11 times BMI.
All right. So this, as I mentioned earlier, is slope. That means what? If the BMI increases from 25 to 26 1 unit, the BMI increases roughly from 25 to 26. The SBP increased by 8.11 points. That means for every unit increase in BMI, SBP is expected to increase by 8.11 units. So that's what this means. The intercept, now here, what is BP when BMI is 0? You don't have BMI 0. But extrapolate this to BMI 0, that's a place you cut the y-axis. But in this case, don't bother to interpret this because they never have, in this case, never have BMI 0. So don't have to interpret the intercept. Are we clear?
Yes.
All right. So now we have SBP, BMI, we plot it. What do you see? Generally, higher the BMI, higher the BP, there's no outliers, right? Dots like this means there's an outlier. Dot like this means an outlier. Generally, we don't see any outliers. Next, to build an our table. So what are you looking for? You're looking for regression, residual, and total. The degrees of freedom is 1, and minus 2, and minus 1. N is a sample size. N is a sample size. If my sample size 10, they become, if a sample size 10, how much is this value?
9,
9. How much this value?
8.
8. This value always 1 for simple linear regression. Now we add this 1, this 8 plus 1, 9. They should add up. Because this side, regression plus residual is total. Therefore, this also must add up. Okay. So below here, the sum, SS, sum square, the mean square, you explained just now. Finally, we're going to equate this, putting this way, and the degree of freedom. So now example, let's see how to get the SST. SST. We done this in your lesson 2 earlier. Let's do again. This is my SBP, which is a dependent variable. First, I find the mean value, 131. And then I minus the 131 from the values here. So 118 minus X bar. So these are the values. If I add these values, the answer will be 0. What do? Square the values. Square the values and add them up. That is called the total variation. So total variation, SST in the dependent variable. This is a dependent variable. Find the mean, subtract mean from every measurement. We add this up, answer will be 0. So square them. Square it and add it up. So that's your SST. So now you already know this value. Next, I'm going to go for this value. Because I know this, I can find this. Right? If I know this and I know this, I can find this. That's the easy way out. All right. Predicted value. SBP, so this equation, 8.11 times this, 8.11 times this, we get these values. predicted the values on the line. For example, for 24 point something, that's a predicted value. So using this equation, you predict the values. So predicted SBP. Next step, residuals. So this is your SBP. This is a predicted SBP. The blue dots are the SBPs. The value on the line are the predicted. The deviations are called the residuals. So where the residual are coming from? The observed and the predicted. For example, these are for residuals, right? Just put in based on numbers. So we know these are residuals. So go to quantify this and capture it. BP minus predicted, that's a residual. Just now I said all the vertical lines are the residuals. So quantify them in our example. Quantify them as BP minus predicted. These are values. Some above the line, some positive, some negative. We add this up, answer will be 0. So we square them. Right? We square them and add them up. That is your residual. So now you already got what you need. Residual we know. Total we know. Now you can find this. Continue. You already know the SST. We know the residual. This minus this, that is your regression. It's a total variation, unexplained variation, explained variation. And the degrees of freedom, SST n minus 1, residual n minus 2, regression always 1. So now you're able to plug in all the values into the table. So you can fill up these values. This is 1, 10 minus 2, 8, 9. After this, we don't use this anymore. MS 790 divided by 1. This MS 53.8 divided by 8. That's a value. Now take the ratio between these two, 117.5. This value is big. How do you know? I compute a p-value using Excel. This p-value is less than 0.001. So since the p-value is less than 0.05, my objective is, does SBP depend on BMI? Yes, since less than 0.05, my conclusion, yes. SBP depends on BMI. Next question is, how? We write the equation. We got earlier this equation. Again, we're not going to calculate manually. That's the equation. Write it down. And explain what it means. For every unit increase in BMI, BP is expected to increase by 8.11 units. Example for a person, BMI 26. Another person, same age, BMI 27. So 127 BP should be higher by 8 points. R square. Again, don't have to calculate manually. SPS give automatically. Even this way, this is explain. This is a total 790 over 844. That is 936. So we say 93.6% of the variation BP explained by BMI. And we know this is your SST. 93% of that is about 80%. Sorry, it's a mistake here. 93 of this, forget about this, that's a mistake. Now, so we stop here. 93% of the variation in BP explained by BMI. 93%, is it good or not? Is it
Good.
Good, right? It's very good. Why the BMI is high? Mainly is because, why the BP is high is mainly because of the BMI. If you want to reduce BP, then what must you do? You want to reduce You want to increase BP better or reduce better? Higher the BP better, lower the BP better.
Lower the BP.
Lower.
BP, as blood pressure, higher the better, lower the better.
Lower the better.
Lower the better. But we know high BMI, high BP. So reduce the BP, what must you do? Reduce BP, what must you do?
Decrease.
Reduce BMI.
Huh?
Decrease.
Reduce.
BMI.
Decrease BMI. Every unit BMI reduced, your BP goes down by 8 points. And we have just an example there. So this is how it works. So SPS does everything for you. You're going to pick up the points and explain and write up how things work, right? An example, observe first, later we'll do this and so on. Objective, to test there's an association between BMI and BP, right? This is a bigger data set. Data is already there. Data set 1, scatter plot. Again, follow this instruction. BP, BMI, this one comes up. So generally, the higher the BMI, the higher the BP. And there's no dot, something like that sitting there. So we say there's no major outliers. Generally, they're moving this direction. Except how strong? So what's the correlation? So follow this instruction. BP, BMI. Again, click OK. We have this value. So the R value, Pearson's correlation value, is 0.669. It's a mirror image, one side is enough. The value is the same. 0.669. What's the p value? There's a below p value, less than 0.05. So say there's a significant positive association. Why positive? This number is positive between BMI and SBP. Higher the BMI, higher the BP value. This value by magnitude, is it more than 0.3?
Yes.
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 Sizable and significant. So first you see in the diagram, the figure, scatter plot, looks like there's a pattern, strong or weak pattern. So you got 0.669, also is a moderate, it's not very high and not very low, nevertheless is more than 0.3. Sizable association. Next step, we go to regression. Just do this. BP goes in, BMI comes here, and then for the plots here, click plots and click save next. We do something later. But time being, just this enough. Bring in BP, BMI, and click OK. You don't have to go into this yet. So look at this now. There are several tables I picked up. I picked up three tables. What's my objective? What's my objective? What I want to know. Essentially, what's the objective? Guys, what's the objective? What do you want to know in this example?
To find out whether SBP depends on BMI.
To test, don't use word find out. To test if SBP depends on BMI. First, ANOVA table. Look at the p-value. Is it less than 0.05?
Yes.
What does it mean?
SBP depends on BMI.
BMI. What's my objective? To test if SBP depends on BMI. P-value less than 0.05. Conclusion, yes, BP depends on BMI. Next question, how? How? We write the equation. Again, there's a mistake here. If you number it, I number it step by step how you go about doing this. So you can follow the numbering. Okay, this will be number 1. This will be number 2, the equation. Correct the mistake. 7. This will be number 3. When you read this, okay, how do you read this in a sequence? And this will be number 4. Okay. Now let's read this in a sequence. What's the objective? Again, asking what's the objective? Hey class, what's the objective?
F or BP depends on BMI.
Say again.
FBP depends on BMI.
To test if SBP depends on BMI, I'm going to follow the 4 steps. Step number 1, ANOVA table, P value less than 0.05, hence BMI depends on BMI. BP depends on BMI. Next question, how? So we write the equation, right? Constant, that's your A, this is your B. So we write the equation. Step number 3, explain the B. For every unit increase in BMI, BP expected to increase by 2.03 units. Number 4, R square equals to 0.448, which means 44.8% of variation BP explained by BMI. How to get this 4.8? Just square it. Okay, or take this value. 1, 2, can you try this? 1,
Yes.
2, 103 divided by 2701. What's your answer? 1, 2, 1. How much? 1, 2, 1.
0.448.
Right? That's the value there. You don't have to calculate, but that's how it's calculated. So just explain. Right? Now all of you take a pencil and pen, paper and pen. I'm going to dictate, you write.
Can I ask you a question first?
Sure.
What's the difference between R square and adjusted R square? R square.
Okay.
R square and adjusted R square.
For the time being, not now. Later, when we do multiple linear regression, I'll explain that.
Okay.
All right.
I have a question. In the chart, which parts are explained and which part can't explained?
Which chart? This chart?
In the chart, which part can be explained? Which part cannot be explained?
We don't know. We don't know
Oh.
because BP, does it depend only on BMI? BP, does it depend only on BMI?
Oh, no.
Other factors, right?
Yes.
BMI alone can explain 44%. The others, like what? Like age, cholesterol, exercise, gender, right? The balance is not, this means 44.8% explained. How much unexplained? How much unexplained?
49, 46, well, 56.
50, 55.2, right?
Yes.
55, say 44% explain, roughly, okay, 45% explain, make it 45. 45% explain, how much unexplained? Round it up. Right, 45% explain, balance 55% not explained, right?
Yes.
Round it up, 45% explained by BMI. Balance 50%, other variables will contribute. Because BP does not depend on BMI alone. The balance 55% can be explained by other variables, which is not in this model.
And I have another question.
Sure.
What is the meaning of regression?
Meaning of regression?
Yes.
There's a procedure, there's a method. regression is a method.
Yeah. What's the meaning of the number of regression?
Meaning of
Sum of the square.
R squares, eh?
Yeah. The regression, the second table regression 1, 2, 1, 0, 3.
1, 2, 1, 0, 3, where? This one?
No, 1, 2, 1, 0, 3
This one
points.
here.
Yes,
This one.
yes.
Ah, okay. See, we talk about total and residual. Now, example, one example I did, right? Total, right? I use a smaller data set. Total variation, you do this, that's a total variation, right?
Mhm.
Then residual, we did this, BP minus predicted, that's residual, square it, that's your SS residual. So now, we don't calculate this, but we know this plus this, this plus this must be this. We know SST is so much, regression so much, so this must be 790. In other words, this total, this explained, unexplained?
Not explained.
Not explained. Then this explained, right?
Oh, yes, I see.
Right. Total is explained plus unexplained. The total is explained plus this explained plus unexplained. I don't have to calculate all three. But I know two, which is easier to calculate, number one. And number two, I can find this. Calculating this is not that easy. Right? So now
Yes.
we know what is SST and we know what's SS residual. So put inside here. So this is what we want to know. So this total unexplained, the balance is explained. These are values that goes into the table. Are we clear?
Yes.
All right. So this example went through the same thing. So what is this value? So this is all the residuals. This is the total. So this minus this automatically is regression. We call it explained variation. That's why this 1 to 1 over 27 total, this is called percentage explained variation. How much of the total variation is explained by the model? So 1 to 1 over 27, that's a value. You don't have to calculate because R square already there. So can I ask you, dictate? I dictate, take it down. Are you ready? I'm going to dictate, you write it down. Are you ready?
Yes.
Right. Start. Objective. To test the association between, sorry, I can start again. Start again. Objective. To test if SBP depends on BMI. Again, objective. To test if SBP depends on BMI. Next, analysis. The same format is earlier. Analysis. Simple linear regression. Simple linear regression. Results. Results, I'm going to go to number one, results. In the ANOVA table, the p-value was less than 0.001. The p-value was less than 0.001. Hence, SBP depends on BMI. Again, point number one, In the ANOVA table, the p-value was less than 0.001. Hence, SBP depends on BMI. Next, point number 2. From this table, coefficient table, you're going to pick up this, what's into the box, write the equation. So point number 2, the equation. SBP, this is systolic blood pressure, SBP dependent, equals to 71.028 plus 2.030 times BMI. Point number 3, just explain what it means. For every unit increase in BMI, SBP is expected to increase by 2.03 units. Point number 4, the R square value equals to 0.448, which means 44.8% of the variation in BP is explained by BMI. There are 4 points here. 2 more points to come before we can say the model is good or not. 2 more points, 5 and 6. So from this click button, just bring SBP, BMI, click OK. And we have these results. We can write at least about half a page. Questions? Questions? Next, residuals. So we have plotted the line. So this will be the residuals. So the collection residuals, the assumption says they must be random and normally distributed. The residuals, let's see where I see it. Okay. The residuals, right? So this must be random. Collection of the residuals must be normally distributed, right? That's what it says. Okay, let's how to test this. How do you test this? Right. We're going to take a scatter plot. Sorry, it's a different example. So it's not complete yet. Okay, let's go back to the analysis. Now do this. Go back to analysis. We do this and confirm this. For time being, I'm going to skip this part. I'm going to skip this part, right? The assumption. So we have 4 points already, right? We did return 4 points. Okay, by the 2 more points, we do afterwards. All right. Example 2. What's the objective?
Age and BMI.
Age and BMI. You put a scatter plot. Age versus BMI. What's the conclusion based on this? What's the conclusion?
No connection.
Right? There's no pattern, isn't it? There's no definite pattern between age and BMI. Looks like there's no association. Still, we go for correlation. So look at the correlation. Correlation value doesn't matter, positive, negative. 0.171. 0.171. What's the p-value? What's the p-value?
More
than 0.0105. Is it less than 0.3?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So R value less than magnitude, P value more than 0.05. There's no significant association between age and BMI. Which we confirm. This diagram, no pattern. You can see there's no association. We'll continue with the regression. Just take the ANOVA table alone. The ANOVA table, right? And our table. What's the p-value?
0.07
Is it more than 0.05?
more than.
Right? Therefore, BMI does not depend on age. Questions? All right. Yeah? Questions?
Because we have we know the R value, so why do we want to test the ANO with A?
You want to test what? Okay, you're telling based on this no pattern, right?
Mm,
R value is so not significant, right?
yes.
If I continue, I'll get these results. Of course, after this, you don't have to proceed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We already know the R value, so I think we don't want to know the next
Yeah.
the next. I don't know how to say.
No.
We already know the R value. The R is less than 0.3. So we already know there is no association between them.
Right. Correct. You're right.
Why we want to test the
right.
AVOA? Yeah.
Okay. Now, after this, can I stop? There's no pattern, right? I can stop, right? I can say there's no pattern between age and BMI. I can stop. I don't have to proceed to correlation or regression. I'm just showing you an example. When this happens, this is what we see, and this is what we see. Okay? You don't have to do these two. Based on this, we know we don't have to proceed further. Have I answered the question?
Yes, thank you.
Right. You don't have to proceed further. Just showing that if it comes like that, that's how your p-value, your R value going to be. That's how your ANOVA table going to be. So don't have to proceed from here. Stop here. Are you okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So now we have this exercise. Just now we did SBP, now DBP. All right, these examples. Okay. I'm going to show this for first example, how to write, and you're going to the next. Okay. Let's stop this now.